Malkin's moment. So Denis Shapovalov and Rafael Nadal played in an incredible five-set thriller in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open a couple days ago. I know I haven't talked about the Australian Open as much. I'm going to, especially on Monday's show, once the finals, the men's and women's finals commence. So this was really an interesting story between Denis Shapovalov and Rafael Nadal, and I think that it's one that likely more players have experienced, not named Denis Shapovalov. So the Canadian Shapovalov, who's 22 years old, 22-year-old, 14 seed in the Australian Open, going up against Rafael Nadal in the quarterfinals. After he lost the first set 6-3, in tennis you get a certain allotted time during a changeover, not only after games but after sets. And there is a certain punctuality that the chair umpire is supposed to uphold. And what Denis Shapovalov was claiming was that the chair ump was allotting Rafael Nadal additional time beyond the traditional and the standard time to get back onto the court to be ready to play, to start the second set. And Shapovalov was ready to serve. Nadal was taking some additional time, and he felt like the ump was providing preferential treatment to Rafael Nadal, giving him a little bit more time to get back on to, not the field, sorry, the court. Pardon. I've been watching the NFL playoffs, so keep thinking about the field at the top of my head. On the court. And he kind of jokingly in disgust turned around and said that he thought the chair ump is corrupt as he was walking back to serve to start the second set. So here's the thing for Denis Shapovalov. The thing he has to understand, and I'm sure he understands it, which is why he said what he said. He's not wrong. Star athletes are awarded preferential treatment. You're looking across the net at a guy in Rafael Nadal who's won 20 Grand Slams, who's won the Australian Open before in 2009, who's won 2 Grand Slams at Wimbledon, who's won the US Open 4 times, who's won the French Open 13 times. There's a statue, for crying out loud, that was sculpted to commemorate Rafael Nadal outside of the French Open, or outside of one of their main stadiums. That's who's on the other side. That's the accomplishments. Now, again, is it fair? Is it right? No. And I couldn't see from the vantage point on the television set whether or not Nadal was taking excessive time. Does it surprise me? No, because if you look at Rafael Nadal's service routine, for crying out loud, the guy scratches his wedgie, puts his fingers through his ears, fixes his shirt before every single serve that he does. It's one of the things that I love the most about him, how anal he is on his serve. He's got the same routine. It takes about 15 seconds. He stretches out his shorts, fixes the wedgie underneath that pocket of that pocket where the sun don't shine, fixes his shirt, puts his hands through his ears, makes sure that his grip is good and not sweaty, and then he goes about and does his serve. He takes a lot of time. Nadal takes a lot of time. And unfortunately for Denis Shapovalov, he's going to realize that this is a part of playing against superstars in the sport. It's not fair. It's not right. But it's a part of it. And I don't have a problem with his kind of decree. I don't have a problem with him being outspoken about it and being publicly frustrated and upset about it. And I like Denis Shapovalov. The guy is born in Israel, in Tel Aviv. He's Canadian, but he's born in Israel. I have family in Israel, so I root for Denis Shapovalov. I actually think he's a really talented player. He's an up-and-coming guy. He's only 22 years old, and Nadal is one of his idols. They're both one of the few left-handers on the pro tour. So, but at the same time, if you're Shapovalov, this is when you're comparing your career against Nadal's, Shapovalov obviously reached the quarterfinals this year. And after that, he had reached the semifinals of Wimbledon in 2021. He reached the quarters of the U.S. Open in 2020, the fourth round of the U.S. Open in 2017, and obviously the quarters, as I mentioned, the Australian Open of 2022. But that's it. That's the extent of his pro tennis career. And you're complaining about a guy who's won 20 Grand Slams gaining a little bit of an advantage. It's not a surprise. Star athletes in other sports, they get private jets, bigger hotel rooms, better accommodations, better times to play. The same thing in tennis. So understand that he's upset and frustrated with the loss, and it was a tremendous match. Nadal won the first two sets. Shapovalov won the third and fourth. Went to a fifth set. Nadal won 6-3, but that's a part of it. That's a part of it, unfortunately.